Okay, so we're gonna look at this James 14 and 15 as if we depict Adam and Eve at the tree of knowledge and good and evil, right? Because we see here, Scripture says that man is drawn away by his own lust, right, and tempted. And then we see that same type of thing going on in the garden at the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And I'm not going to deny that Adam and Eve were real people and a real happening. It was a real happening in a real garden. But this part is teaching us about what's going on, right? That allegory. It's an allegory. That part at the tree is an allegory with the serpent, Adam and Eve. And I want to juxtapose it against James 1:14, or use James 1:14 as a blueprint to show that that's an allegory. Although Adam and Eve were real people and they were mother and father by one man, sin entered into the world, right? And death by sin. Adam, we know that. So we're going to see this in James 14 and 15 by comparing it to Adam and Eve and that serpent, right, at the garden. And we know that the serpent is Satan, right, from the book of Revelation, right, that old serpent. It tells us who that serpent is, Satan, right, the devil. So we know that serpent depicted Satan in the garden, or the devil in the garden. So we know that he's the tempter because he tempted Jesus in the wilderness. Remember when Jesus fasted for 40 days? Afterwards he was hungered, and the tempter came to him, and that was Satan, right, telling him, "Hey, why don't you make this stones into bread if you're hungry? Why don't you throw yourself and the angels will stop off this temple, and the angel will lift you up, and you want to dash your foot on the stone." That's that tempter, right? That's that tempter, Satan. And we see that that's that serpent, that same tempter. So then when we read James 1:14, but every man, that's Adam, right, is tempted by that tempter, that serpent in the garden, when he's drawn away of his own lust. Eve, who was the one lusting at the tree? When the woman saw that the tree was good for food, pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave unto her husband also, and he did eat. So who was lusting at that tree? Eve, right? So she's depicted in that allegory as lust in there, right? Serpent, temptation. Adam, every man. We all go through this. Then Eve is lust. All right, so let's read it again. But every man is tempted, we drawn away of his own lust and enticed. We see the roles played in that allegory. Then when lust, that's Eve, remember, has conceived. Well, how does she conceive? From lust and temptation, right? Lust and temptation conceive, or Eve and the serpent in the allegory. And I'm talking about no sexual, connotation that they had a child and all that, but it's the allegory where we see Eve as lust and the serpent as temptation, right? If this type of Bible study interests you, click the link in the description, which will take you to the full study. And please like and subscribe.